Phyrexian Arena, the first printing of Vindicate, the Pain Lands. These are just some of the impactful cards from Magic's 23rd expansion, Apocalypse.
But we're not talking about those cards today. Today we are talking about the sleepers from the set, the inexpensive cards that could, in the future, do something really impactful in EDH. The video starts right now.
Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below.
Hello and welcome to the day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. We're going to talk about these sleeper picks from Apocalypse. But first, if you wouldn't mind, go down there, hit like, hit subscribe. You know the drill. It really helps us out.
It's the best way to support the channel for just the click of a button.
Let's jump over into the cards. You know how we like to start off these Commander Sleeper Series videos, and that's with an honorable mention, common or uncommon, and Coalition Honor Guard is our honorable mention common for this video. We've got a 1 white, 3 other, 2/4 flag bearer that says, if an opponent plays a spell or ability that could target a flag bearer in play, that player chooses at least one flag bearer as a target. So the first time anybody tries to cast Vraska's Contempt, it is definitely got to hit Coalition Honor Guard if this card is on the battlefield.
What I really like about this card is the way it slots into any kind of control deck. It's just a very, very pesky card. It's one of those things where you have one removal in hand and you know now you need 2. So it's a really, really strong card. A lot of people in EDH run these non-interactive or we're just going to try to do our thing. They don't run a lot of spot removal. Disruption is another way that a lot of people go. They run a lot of disruption. However, the reason this card is included is because this is the first printing of this card and the foil is really desirable if this is the kind of card that you want to seek out. I think it's a really cool card. I think it's exceptional in certain kinds of decks.
This isn't the only flag bearer in MTG. I really like running the flag bearers, if you will, in Voltron builds, because if I'm not able yet to find that hexproof or whatever artifact enchantment that's going to protect my Voltron commander, this is going to act as a second line of defense. I also like the double duty it pulls with sacrifice effects. One of the Voltron killers is sacrifice effects. Coalition Honor Guard pulls double duty. It can either pull the direct damage, direct kill spell to it, or you can sacrifice it so that you don't have to sacrifice your Voltron commander. That's how I like to use them.
Yeah, I think of it as like a way, again, I always bring up this deck, but Carador is so important in that deck, and having this in your graveyard to be able to cast with Carador to protect Carador is really cool, and then when they kill it, you just get it back, and you continue to protect Carador with it. I think that that's a really good application of the card. Any kind of situation where you can constantly recur this card to protect your commander, I think you're going to be in a good situation.
Let's move on from the commons and uncommons and talk about a rare. Deso Angel, 2 black, 3 other for a 5/4 flyer that's got a kicker of white. When it comes into play, destroy all lands you control. If you paid the kicker cost, destroy all lands instead. In my mind, you're not playing this card without kicking it. No one needs a 5/4 flyer for 5 so bad that they're willing to sacrifice all their lands to do so. However, if you can amass enough mana to wipe the entire board and then cast Deso Angel with kicker, you have now killed every creature and every land, and you get a 5/4 flyer to boot.
Yeah, and in that situation, I think in the number of turns it would take, and depending if you have any other way of buffing it, or if there was something on the field that's going to buff it that already exists, some kind of anthem or something like that, then yeah, dude, I think that the card can close out a game. I think it's definitely a casual card. I'm not going to say, despite what it does, it's a little high costed for something like CEDH, I would say.
Oh,
but this is but we're not really talking about CEDH. But this is one of those cards that I think it really depends on your play group. It's like, hey guys, tonight we're going to play.
Right.
How do we feel about blown up lands?
Yeah, exactly. Armageddon, Catastrophe, Desolation Angel is included in that conversation. We've got Deso Giant up next.
Yeah, this is a cool card. 2 red, 2 other for a 3/3 with the 2 white kicker. When Deso Giant comes into play, destroy all other creatures you control. If you paid the kicker cost, destroy all other creatures instead.
So again, this isn't one that I'm going to cast without that kicker ready to go. You don't want to sacrifice all your creatures just for a 3/3. However, destroying everyone's creatures for 6 mana and you get a 3/3 left behind, it's not terrible.
Yeah, it's not awful. I think that having the 3/3, it's kind of like meh to me, but being able to put it on a creature, I actually do like this. And this is one of those cards that I think, in red-white, sure, it could do something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Guided Passage is up next. You got Timur across the board for a sorcery. Reveal the cards in your library. An opponent chooses from among them a creature card, a land card, and a non-creature, non-land card. You put the chosen cards into your hand, then shuffle your library. So for 3 mana, you're getting 3 cards. Yes, an opponent gets to control which 3 cards, but you are guaranteed at least a creature, a land, and a non-creature, non-land.
Yeah, I think that this is actually one of the stronger cards out of this set for its price. I think this is like less than $1. We reviewed this card before and still maintain that it's good. In EDH, You're building a very specific strategy. So being able to pay 3 mana, even though it's at sorcery speed, your opponent is still going to have to go in and fetch 3 cards that you most likely have put a lot of time into picking. There's a reason that they are in your deck. The land might be kind of negligible, but either way, the value on this I think is very strong, even though the opponent is picking the cards. Most likely they're going to give you something that in some way or another is going to help you.
Right. Yeah. A lot of times the argument I see against this card is, okay, so I'm going to go in, I'm going to get your Birds of Paradise, I'm going to get you a basic land, and I'm going to get you a ramp spell, rampant growth or something like that. So you just get 3 whatever cards, but essentially that's 3 mana to me. If that's your floor, I mean, the ceiling could be way higher. And
yeah, 3 cards that are going to one of them, rampant growth, is going to thin out your deck. Birds of Paradise is going to make sure that you cast, whatever's coming up. Yeah, I mean, and then the other direction is, I'm going to give you big creatures because your mana on the battlefield right now is low.
Right.
Or I'm going to give you non-impactful stuff, like Birds of Paradise late game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I still think that it's a really good card for the price that it is.
Well, and the other piece to this, for me, is the political aspect. It's an opponent. So you get to choose which opponent. You choose the opponent that's with you against the worst person on the board. Hey, go pull specifically. I know that this creature is in there and it'll hose him or her, and I know that this non-creature, non-land is in there and it'll hose him or her. Go get me those 2 and then toss in a basic land or whatever.
That's a very good point. A lot of EDH games are very political games. They turn into, okay, they're rising up, this deck is getting out of hand, we need to police this, we need to burn them down, and then yeah, dude, I really like that aspect, and I'm happy you included that.
Go get me a disenchant. Go get me a sinkhole. Let me destroy that land that's screwing us up. Let me go destroy 2 of their, let me return to dust that artifact and that enchantment that they've got that's so wiping us out right now. Anyway.
I mean, all of those cards that you mentioned aren't in those colors, though. Sinkhole and return to dust.
Sorry.
But I do see what you're saying, and there would be answers.
Go get me land destruction. Go get me an artifact enchantment destruction. I misspoke.
It's just funny that you named black and white cards.
Specifically chose 2 cards that had nothing to do. Come on, I can't always be 100% on.
Let's talk about this card that's 5 colors here. 7 for Legacy Weapon. 7 for an artifact that says 1 green, 1 red, 1 black, 1 blue, 1 white. Remove target permanent from the game. You are not limited to that. So however much mana you can sink into that, sink it in.
Yeah. Absolutely. You can just remove target permanent straight up. And then if it would go to your graveyard instead, it's shuffled into your library. Yeah. I think that if you're running a 5-color deck, this is a very strong inclusion. I hesitate to call it an automatic inclusion because people always yell at me on the internet when I say automatic inclusion. However, I think that it's a very strong choice, especially if you've got repeatable ways to make the 5 colors of mana. And there are lands that you can sink 5 of any color into and it spits out 1 of each. There are artifacts that do the same thing.
Yeah, if you could go infinite, you could just remove everybody's permanents from the game. I think that would be kind of difficult, but I don't know, dude. I think the card is really good. Again, this is a casual card.
Right.
But if you're playing a 5-color deck, this can be had for like under $1. And it's a really cool card with really cool iconic art. And I just love...
Oh, yeah, got the weather light on there.
I love what it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love what it does.
It's
just
very
like
cool.
remove permanence.
Here's one that nobody is going to love what it does. Ice Cave, blue, 3 other for an enchantment that says whenever a player plays a spell, any other player may pay that spell's mana cost. If a player does, counter the spell. And remember that mana cost includes color. So if you're playing a Timur deck, you won't be able to use white mana or black mana.
Yeah, that's right. Unless you have like a Bird of Paradise and you can float that color mana.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or whatever. But there are situations. However, I actually think that this card fits best into a 5-color deck. Because a 5-color deck, you can rest assured if you're fixing well, you're going to be one of the only people that are able to constantly counter people's spells.
Yep, absolutely. There are also lands that say tap to add 1 color of any mana that an opponent's lands could produce. This card would be excellent in combination with lands like that, just like Jake was talking about with Birds of Paradise or with artifacts that can create a mana of any color, something like that. That's really going to help you in your Ice Cave deck because you want to be controlling everybody's casts.
And what really, really cool art here as well. I just love the old art, and I love the old border cards.
I think that this card would look excellent in foil. That's a way that we recommend picking these cards up. If you are interested in picking these cards up, we're not saying, oh my god, this card is poised to blow up to a $10, $20 card. These will probably stay sleepers, but they are sleepers, they are cheap, and so you can get the foils for a very affordable price. That takes us back around to Coalition Honor Guard, and that completes our Apocalypse Commander Sleeper series. We appreciate you watching. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. If you want to support us further, we've got a Patreon. The link is down in the description below. We've got monthly giveaways over there, and we think they're cool, and we think you will too. Go give it a shout. And if you want to hang out with us, we're streaming on Twitch and YouTube all the time. Find us there.
That's it. You've said all the things. You said you were going to let me say one thing.
Nope.
I didn't even get to do one. I didn't get to say one thing.
I had to show the people that I can execute on a sentence and not say that white and black cards should go into a 3-color Timur deck.
Do whatever you need to do.